Hey, this is number 276, photo share and discussion. What is this, the 23rd? Yep, 23rd of June. 2 days into summer officially, so we're just past the summer solstice, longest day of the year. Now we're on that long, or short downward, I guess long slide down to in December. So, hey, there's Frank.
Where?
There's Frank's hand. Hey, Frank.
There he is. There he is.
How you doing?
Doing well. I normally have my camera facing the wall when it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Good. Good. Glad you could join in here. I've been fiddling around with my setup here, so let me go ahead and get this going.
Hey, I was just reading a question on Yahoo Answers,
Okay.
and the question is, what are some cameras that have the same features as the Fujifilm SQ20? I didn't know what the SQ20 was, and apparently it's a digital camera that can also make instant film images from the picture that you're about to take.
Oh, so it's got a Polaroid back to it, basically.
Yeah, basically. And my answer was no. There aren't any other cameras that does this. You know, Fujifilm has basically is your only option in this very niche market.
Yeah.
But I went on to say that, you know, there really aren't any Polaroid or Fujifilm or instant film cameras that really produce good images, although that good is a very subjective term.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. I mean, that is kind of an interesting. I didn't even know that camera existed. That's kind of interesting. So is it a basic quality digital camera? It's probably not a.
It's a toy camera. You know, about $100 or so.
Okay, so it's like probably a 12 megapixel or something like that camera. Probably like a cell phone size camera in it with and it must have a way of just projecting it onto the onto the Instax film, I guess, right? Is that what it is? The Fuji Instax?
Yeah, it's $160 on Amazon.
Huh. Interesting.
I'm not seeing any specs. It tells you how many resolutions.
So you get a cell phone quality shot probably with a Polaroid at the same time.
Huh. Yeah. It's basically a toy camera. I mean, I can imagine there's a novelty to it. It's fun.
It'd be fun for kids. I mean, you know, kids that do it, parties, that type of thing. Yeah.
Exactly, birthday parties.
Mm-hmm.
But the monitor has a whopping 230,000 dots resolution.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is about a fifth of what your typical digital cameras have.
And what's the megapixel? Does it say what the megapixel rating is?
No, I'm not saying it.
I bet it's probably 8 to 12 megapixels, something like that.
Yeah, it's if it was really impressive, that actually probably printed on the body of the camera, and it's not there.
That's probably true. Yeah, so it's probably the same quality camera that's in a cell phone, basically, a smartphone. Yeah.
Probably.
Hey, Dennis.
Hi, Mark. How you doing?
Good. Can you hear Frank and I?
I can.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll just wait and see if anybody else joins, and then we'll see if it still works.
Yeah, they'd be in silent mode.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, cool. That's kind of interesting. I didn't even know that camera existed, but yeah, I mean, it's like you said, it's a very basic camera. It's basically a cell phone camera with a Polaroid at the back.
Yeah, it's a 1/5 size sensor. So it's really, really tiny. It's about half the size of what's in a cell phone.
Okay.
And it's a 1920 by 1920 pixels, which comes out to 3.67.
Oh, yeah. So it's like a 4 megapixel camera, basically.
Yeah, not even 3.7.
I had a better. Well, no, that's a digital camera, circa 2001. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a somewhere. I've got I don't think I have it on the shelf, but I had it was the Olympus. It was a weather resistance. I don't know what the model was, but it was a 3.1 megapixel camera.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first digital camera. And at the time it took, it had manual mode and all that stuff. But yeah, it was a 3.2 megapixel. So that's basically what that is. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, you give a good answer. Yeah, it's a toy. Have fun with it, but there's nothing else really equivalent.
Mhm.
Either go up in the digital line or get a large format camera. You can go one way or the other.
The funny thing I told them, really, if you want good image quality from a Polaroid and digital image, get yourself a Hasselblad 500 CM
Yeah.
and a digital back along with the Polaroid back, and there you go.
Yeah, and you're already out of pocket about 40 grand.
Come on, it's not that bad.
No,
The
that's only money. I mean, really.
digital back's like $20,000.
Yeah,
Come
okay.
on.
That's not too bad. Yeah.
Jump chase. I told them unless your last name is Gates or Bezos, you're really not in the market for this.
Man,
Yeah.
yeah, that's nice. Yeah, it'd be a fun little camera for kids or party, but yeah, if you're interested, if you like making images, then you gotta step it up and at least go to a micro four thirds camera or something.
Yeah.
Something like that. So good. Well, Dennis, you will be glad to know that I did actually download the GIMP this week.
Oh, impressed.
And I've just downloaded Raw Therapy. I haven't done anything with it yet. So so I was starting to mess around with it. And I was gonna ask you, have you done any have you used GIMP to do any conversion of color negatives?
Conversion of color negatives.
Yeah, so like a scan negative.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have to go in and do a layer and do curves and all that, and get it to come out. I mean, do they have a filter for that, or a plugin that'll help you do that?
Well, no, all I done was I scanned the negatives on the Epson.
Mm-hmm.
If they're big negatives, I could use them on the V800.
Okay. Yeah.
And if they're 35 mils, I've got that Nikon LS4000, which
okay.
is
Yeah. All right. So you end up with a giant TIFF file basically at the end of the day.
Yeah. So you just dump them straight into GIMP.
Okay. And then do the invert and see what happens. Basically, is that how you've been doing the color? Just do an invert.
Yeah. You can. Well, no, you can save them as positives.
Okay. All right. Oh, let's see. I just literally downloaded GIMP yesterday and spent about half an hour on it. So
yeah, I haven't taken any photos this week. So I played with some of the old ones, which I grabbed the raw files and stuck them in and processed them through GIMP this time, rather than the other systems.
Okay.
So I put a couple on tonight. So
okay, I'll take a look at those.
Framing them up and using their filters.
Yeah, I saw one of the store images you took from a few months back, the bakery. Looks like, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so cool. So I was gonna ask you about that because I literally, like I said, I downloaded GIMP yesterday and played with it just a little bit, and then I would think I would use GIMP mostly because it looks like Raw Therapy. You can do a lot of basic editing in Raw Therapy.
Yeah.
So it's almost, maybe not exactly, but pretty equivalent to what you could do with Lightroom. Generally, it looks like, yeah. So I would think if I were to do that, I would use GIMP mostly, just like I use Photoshop now, which is mostly for the film side of things. Because
it processes Raw Therapy, does all the raw files.
Yeah, and then can you link the two together? Can you?
Raw Therapy. You can send it straight to GIMP.
Okay, all right. So is that a matter of just setting it up in Raw Therapy then?
Yeah, you can drop your raw file straight into Raw Therapy, and you can do what you want in Raw Therapy and save it. You can save it as a TIFF.
Okay. All right.
And then send it straight to GIMP, or you can send the raw file straight to GIMP now. It's got its own raw processor.
Oh, well, it does for some cameras, not all. I tried that. It doesn't recognize the Olympus, the ORF.
It doesn't recognize it.
No, I tried to open up a raw image from the Olympus, my EM10 or whatever that I took last year, and it said we don't recognize that file format.
Oh. I'm sure I dropped an ORF into it, an old one from way back, and it done it fine.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's probably my fault.
There's also another one called Darktable you can use.
Yes, interesting. I saw that and I downloaded it, the window one, and installed it, and it's not opening. There's an error somewhere, and I did a little research, and it appears that the Windows implementation of Darktable isn't as good as the OS implementation. So it looks, I mean, I didn't spend too much time trying to diagnose it, but I installed it, opened it up, and I got an error. So I uninstalled it, went back and downloaded it again, and reinstalled it and got the same thing. So I was like, huh.
Oh, right. That's a problem with Windows then, because I've got them both on the Apple. They work.
Which one do you like better? Raw Therapy or Darktable?
I think Raw Therapy.
Okay.
But there are some people on the net who prefer Darktable. You know, I think they've all got different things you can use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, Darktable looks like it has some built-in image management features that Raw Therapy doesn't have.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that seemed to me my impression was that Darktable included some image database, image database management features that Raw Therapy doesn't have.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I'm just kind of looking at it, trying to figure out how I would utilize it. I mean, GIMP looks very similar to Photoshop. I mean,
it's basically a free Photoshop. Yeah.
Yeah. So it would just be a matter of learning that and figuring out the best way to convert the color film scans, which I've only spent like 5 minutes trying to figure out. But I've got a nice filter in Photoshop that actually I'll share the screen with you guys and show you this. It's kind of interesting. Let's see. Whoa, hang on here. Where's share screen? There it is. Okay, let's see what we got here. All right, so there we go. We can see this, which I think is okay. So this is GIMP right now.
Right.
And this is that image of that barn I took on a couple years ago. It's on Ektar 100. And so if I go in here and I basically go under colors, right? And do an invert.
Mm-hmm. Should work.
Yeah. There we go. I get an interesting color cast. So
is there one under edit?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. There's edit. No, there's.
Or under image. Was this the original one under image?
No, it was under colors. Yeah. Color back. Yeah, you got invert.
So
yeah.
It's inverting the colors, but yeah. So what magenta can be cyan.
The other method of doing it would be to, because you got the trick is got this mask, the orange mask or whatever that's on what's on there. And so one of the techniques, I guess, is to create another layer, and then do a fill color, which is what I did here. Use the dropper, and get that color, and then do the layer, fill that with the color, invert it, merge the two layers together, and then invert it again.
That sounds a lot of trouble.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to ask. How do you? I mean, so you load it up like this, Dennis, right? So this is what it looks like if you've got a.
What I've done, I scanned the negative in the V800.
Yeah.
I saved it as a positive.
Hmm.
So I did
it as a positive, yes, and I've been saving mine as raw negatives.
Right.
Yeah. So this is. To do it in GIMP, I have to do a couple other things. Let me show you Photoshop. So here's the same image in Photoshop.
Right.
And I bought a filter. It cost me, it was $50. I bought it 5 years ago, but it's called Color Perfect. And it's for converting. So it's a, full on, and I can pick, let's see. the mode is color space. Where is it? Oh, color positive. I send it to color negative, and that's what it does. And it has film profiles preloaded for a lot of stuff. So I can go to Kodak and
Mark?
yes.
I when you had the negative up on your screen, I did a snippet tool,
Mm-hmm.
and I copied what was on my screen, which was that negative. Then saved it and opened up in Photoshop and did an invert, and I got the same result.
Oh, the same.
Yeah, it's cyan.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So it's getting that. So it's you've got to account for that mask somehow. Yeah. Which this filter does, obviously, because it automatically convert and get you pretty close, and then you can go in and adjust, you can adjust the black point and all the different things within the filter, and then when you're done, you click OK, and it'll save it as a TIFF or whatever you want to save it as, and it'll pop up in Photoshop. So if I do this,
yeah, I'm actually in levels right now.
okay,
adjusting the images by adjusting the blue and then the green channels.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming close, but it's really washed out.
Yeah, that's what I noticed too. Just I didn't play around with it in Photoshop, but in GIMP, same basic thing, going in and doing, doing the colors, like levels, basically. Yeah. So if I go into levels, and then channel. So what were you doing? Like blue and green, all right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So you can move that around, and you're gonna get, yeah. It's gonna be quite a bit. Yeah. You just have to play around, but it comes out very, very faded, right? You get almost a real bit, which is kind of interesting, and that seems to be and that was the problem I ran into when I first started scanning them as negatives and opening them up in Photoshop. I could never get it to come out good. So then I found that filter, and that seems to work. That took me literally 10 seconds. And now that I'm in there, what I can do now is oftentimes I'll just take this. Now I can dump it into Lightroom and make some final tweaks, and it comes out really good. So it's kind of interesting. I was just wondering if there might be a tool for GIMP that does a similar type of, it has some kind of profile in the background that.
Yeah, I've not done
90% of the way there without having to fiddle around with curves and levels and all that.
Yeah, I've never put a negative in, Mark.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. I've always saved them, scanned them and saved them as a positive, and then dropped them.
Okay. Yeah. And I've always done saving them as a negative because people's like, yeah, save it a negative, and then you convert it. And you've got more flexibility, because then you can control everything better from a raw negative, supposedly. So that's what I've always done, and it hasn't really been an issue in Photoshop, because I load up that color filter, and that gets me there pretty quick. But I haven't found the same thing in GIMP, but I haven't really looked at it yet.
Have you tried YouTube in it then? The problem?
Not yet.
Yeah, because every time I've got stuck, I've just gone on YouTube and said, like, how do you do this? And there's some guy on there showing you.
Yeah. So I'll play around with it a little bit more this week. But yeah, the initial impression is, it looks pretty much, it's like Photoshop. So
yeah, I think you can download so many add-ons. I haven't even gone down that route yet, because 2.10 comes with quite a few built in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how are you getting this image into your computer? This is originally a negative, color negative, and you're scanning it?
Yeah. So what I do is I'm utilizing it was a V700 scanner. So I scan it using what was the software in it? Silver Scan, I think.
Silverlight. Was it Silverlight?
Silverlight, yes. But it's the scanner, so I'd scan it in as a raw negative in Silverlight,
No, it's Silver Fast.
Silver Fast, yeah, whatever it
It's
is.
Silver Fast, yeah. But
Yeah.
I'm not using that. I'm using ViewScan.
ViewScan, okay. Yeah, for my own scanner here, I use ViewScan too, and you can save it as. So it's similar, but for the scanner I've been using at the studio, it was they have Silverfast on there, and so I just save it. I scan it as a raw negative, so
Right,
just
as opposed to a JPEG, yeah.
Yeah, and then I save it as a TIFF, and I just save it to a thumb drive, and then bring it back, and then dump it into my photo folder, and then so I have a folder for raw. I have a folder. It's called Film Scan Raw, and then Film Scans Converted. So I pull them up, do the conversion, and then save them as as the converted option, and they're still TIFFs. And then I can open the TIFFs up in Photoshop or Lightroom and do it that way.
Yeah, the only thing with scanning color negatives is that you get huge files.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're big.
Your TIFF would be about a gigabyte.
Yeah. No, they are. I can tell you, they're pretty good size.
What color space are you using?
I'm using the. I think it is the color space for the particular scanner.
Right. Is it like an sRGB or an
RGB?
Or
yeah, it's an sRGB. Yeah, it's an sRGB color space. So whatever.
I wonder if that makes a difference if you were to do like a CMYK.
Yeah, I haven't tried that, but I have tried, scanning. Well, my scanner here doesn't do 4x5s, but I've done some medium format on that scanner down there and on here. So that down there is using Silverfast, and I have ViewScan, and I'm still getting the same. You still get the same color cast. It's just the it's in the emulsion basically, or it's the the base stock basically is that. So there's got to be an easy way, and I found that easy way with that Color Perfect in Photoshop, but they don't have one for GIMP. But there's got to be something similar for GIMP.
I would wonder what the results would look like if you had a light box, put the negative on top of it, and take your digital camera and just take a picture of it, and then invert it that way from that file.
Okay. Yeah. So use the camera as the scanner basically.
Right.
Yeah. That a lot of people do that. They
I've done it here on several of my images that I've posted.
Mm-hmm. So you just you shoot it like that and then dump it in, and you end up with a file which is basically as big as the camera sensor. So you end up with a 32 megabyte file or whatever it is as a raw.
Yeah, 50 something. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, it looks promising. I'm going to play around with it a little bit. The only thing I don't like with the combination, Dennis, is that I think I'd like some of the digital asset, the image management features, which Raw Therapy doesn't have. So I'm gonna have to play around a little bit more with like Darktable and see what that works, because that is a nice thing about Lightroom. It does keep track of pretty much everything.
That color mask you got on your negative there,
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't that have been removed when you processed the film?
No, not for color, not for the Ektar.
No,
black and white. Yeah, black and white. There is no color mask. Yeah, it's coming out. But for standard C41 processing on this, it comes out with that cast, and even on the 35 millimeter stuff I've done in medium format color, still has that. There's a little different depending on. Ektar has a certain cast. There's differences between film bases, I guess.
I'll have to check out some of my negatives then, because
take out your negatives. Do you have what color have you done? Large format color? Yeah, you have. Have you?
Yeah. I processed it, and it looked fine. It scanned in, but
okay. Yeah, I bet if you go back and take a look at it, if they're Ektar especially, they should probably look very similar to that. I'm trying to find.
I suppose it's because I've never come across the problem because I've always saved it as a positive.
Yeah, you scan it, save it as a positive, so then you just
Yeah.
take the negative and put it back in your storage box, and all you're working with is a positive. Yeah, and I've always
Yeah,
scanned
I'm
them
working
as
with a
negatives.
positive now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes it
Yeah.
look black and white though. I just converted it to black and white. It looks really good.
Oh yeah, yeah. It makes the black and white, yeah, negatives. That was really what got me going, because I saw something somewhere. They kind of did a comparison of scanning it as a raw negative versus scanning it as scanning a negative and creating a positive. And there was something I saw somewhere that the difference. If you're pixel peeping, it's going to be so much better by scanning it in as a raw. Just like the difference, a RAW versus a JPEG. I mean, that's kind of the analogy they were making. So, it's,
well, if you're going to go through the hassle and invest your time in doing it, you might as well, click the button that makes it a better image. Because you never know. Today you have no need for it, but who knows what's going to be next? What your needs will be.
Yeah, and that's kind of the process. It's like, okay, well, if you scan it as the raw file, quote unquote, then when you get better technology to process it, maybe you've got, it's not going to be obsolete down the road.
Yeah, so you're scanning it as a 32-bit TIFF.
Yes, yes, I'm saving it as a 32-bit TIFF. Let me show you. Yeah, I mean they're good size. They're good size files.
I can imagine. Out of a 4x5, yeah.
Yeah, 4x5 file will be about 1.2 gigabyte.
Yeah, it's a serious it's a serious size. Let me see here. So I've got scan raw negative. So that this image of the barn, what is it? Sheet 35 properties. Okay, it's 648 meg, and I scanned it at 2300 DPI.
2300.
Yeah. And that was, the scanner would go up to 32, but the problem was that the computer that scanner was hooked up to it was just maxing it out, and it was taking literally, I think I told you, it's a couple years ago, it was taking like an hour to do an image. And it was just a matter of bumping it from like 32 to 25, and it took 5 minutes. So
but to be fair, Mark, when you use a file out of a digital camera, it might be like 24 megapixels, but it's only 6 meg of green, or 12 meg of green, and 6 of red, blue. Yeah. Whereas you're scanning a whole negative.
Oh yeah.
All the RGB, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why, the file's 650 meg. I only had 2300, and the scanner would go up to 32. I think the V700 would do 32 or 3600. The problem was that the processing power of processing all those pixels it just locked up the computer, and it got, it wouldn't, because I think they were using I think the computer attached to that scanner was a Mac Mini, a 5 or 6 year old Mac Mini, so it wasn't real.
You soon learn not to choose such high resolution.
Yeah, and I managed to get 1 or 2 that were that high resolution, and then I rescanned them at 20, and I can't tell a difference. So
no, you've got a lot of information you can't see.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I can't imagine people that are doing 8x10 stuff. My gosh, those file sizes must be just tremendous. Well, 2, 3 times, 4 times bigger. I mean, the negatives 3 times, 4 times bigger than a 4x5. Or 2 times. Yeah, 2 times bigger. Yeah. So I mean, that's going to be just a huge number, and a lot of those guys get they will do, for the good stuff, they'll do drum scans, which end up being multiple gigabytes, 5 gigabytes, something like that. It's just,
but if you want to save all that trouble, you can just like go in the dark room and do a really good photograph, 100%. 100% scan straight to the paper.
Yeah, exactly. So so it's interesting. So I did GIMP, and I did download raw therapy. So I'm going to connect the two up, and I'm going to try to figure out Darktable, because that looks like, if I were to make the change, that would be the processor that I would probably want, because it would give some image management as well. If assuming that the capabilities of the raw converter were comparable. I don't need every every feature in the world on it. But if they're pretty similar, but if it has the image management side of things, that might be worth trying. But so far, I haven't been able to get it to load on my machine. So
yeah, I might have a go at Darktable, but I started with Raw Therapy. I just had a quick look at Darktable, and I thought I'll carry on with Raw Therapy for a while.
Mm-hmm. So what are you doing? So how do you manage you just put them in folders by date then, right?
I'm just saving them into folders on the computer and not using the built-in software on Raw Therapy or GIMP. Yeah.
Well, GIMP, you just want to find an image, you just like, oh, okay, I think I took that in July of last year. So you go back to that folder, open it up, and look on the film strip viewer and scan through and see if you can find it. Okay.
Yeah, like if I've been up London and I just put on there like July 19 London file, and I know that everything in there is going to be what we took on when we was in London, So.
Yeah. There's so many different ways of organizing.
The GIMP saves its files in its own format.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it saves everything you do.
Yeah, so it saves the history, and it saves the does it save a sidecar file too, or not?
Yeah, it does both. Yeah, it's usually I'll save it as a JPEG if I want to put it on the net.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's export as. I think the save as is the XCF file. I think from GIMP's format.
Okay. So
yeah, and if you click on that, it'll open GIMP automatically and put it and take you right back to where you left off.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, but export as you can choose tons of formats. There's absolutely loads. PNGs. There's in there I've never heard of.
Yeah, all kinds of file form. Yeah, but it's going to be TIFF or JPEG. Yeah. So it doesn't have any direct links to shortcuts or anything to Flickr or anything like that. So you just save it in the folder, and then you're just uploading directly from the folder onto Flickr then, right?
Yeah. What I'll do is I'll stick the XCF files in the same folder with the JPEGs or the TIFFs. If it's London photographs, it'll be in a London folder with.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So it
keeps the same name, but it just says
same number. It's just the only difference is the XCF is the extension instead of TIFF.
Yeah. It's the file format that GIMP saves in. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. I'll check it out. I should have a little bit of time later on this week to play around with it a little bit. And then I also have you done any, Frank or Dennis? Have either of you done anything on the ON1 processing software?
Never.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Joe suggested I check that out. So I did start a trial of that just to kind of compare, and I haven't really done anything with it at this point, but just to kind of see, because it offers, but it doesn't really do it's not an all-in-one. It's primarily digital images, so it'll read any raw file format, but it doesn't really do good conversions of TIFF files.
If you like, I've got a Sony camera. I keep getting bombarded from Sony because I'm using their basic one what comes with the camera, which is Capture One.
Yep.
But they keep trying to sell me the file what does a little bit more for half price, only £300.
What a deal!
And if I want the one that does all the camera formats, it's about 800.
Oh, well, that sounds pretty reasonable to me, Dennis. I don't know.
Yeah. So I was sort of weighing up whether to pay 800 for the Sony file or use the GIMP.
Yeah, that's what. And so far, I'm still pretty happy with Adobe for $10 a month. It's a pretty seamless solution. Hey, Joe.
Yeah. I think for a free application,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
No, it
And,
is. Yeah. I mean, it is definitely good looks like it does everything Photoshop does. So
yeah, basically, yeah.
yeah, so that is definitely definitely an advantage to that. But yeah, did you hear me, Joe? I said I downloaded the trial of On1.
Yeah.
So I haven't really done anything with it yet, but it looks pretty complete.
Yeah, it's definitely ready for prime time.
Can't hear Joe.
Oh, you can't hear Joe?
Okay, I'll log off and come back on.
Okay.
Yeah. Great stuff, isn't it?
So yeah, so the only thing I noticed real quick is it doesn't really have any built-in tools for converting negatives, like film negatives. You know, like when I'm doing film scans. So I would have to use something like a Photoshop or a GIMP to do that anyway. And it's all it's based on digital stuff. As long as you got a digital raw file, it'll do whatever you need it to do.
That seems like a pretty niche thing, right?
Oh, it is. Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, it is definitely niche, and yeah, because I did search on a little bit on their forums, their support forums, and people are like, yeah, you can play around with it, but it's not designed to do that. You need, people mention GIMP or Photoshop or that type of stuff as a way to convert, TIFFs to negatives to positives, either in black and white or color. It didn't really matter. But yeah, from a digital, if you've got a digital raw file, you can do pretty much everything you need to do with it. And on one, it looks like. So
yeah, now that it's been like it's been a year or so since they went to that monthly payment plan.
Yep, Adobe.
Yeah, and people are just getting tired of it. People are just getting tired of paying that monthly fee. So they're looking for solutions, whether it be a free solution like Dennis is talking about, or just, hey, I pay once a year, and if I want to skip a year, I have that option.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of products out there right now that are, they realize that right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of open season on Adobe, and Adobe's starting to feel the pressure.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if they they're doing, because I opened up Adobe, my account on Adobe Creative Cloud, and it's still in there, for the Photoshop Lightroom combo. It's still $9.99 a month.
Yeah.
But they're still doing that test, I guess, where they're charging basically $20 a month for new people. So
yeah,
it just, if it jumps to $20 a month, it might, because at that price, then yeah, in 3 or 4 months, I'm better off, doing getting on one even. Was it $65? They always have a sale going on. You can get it for $60 to $69 or something.
Right.
And if you don't renew it each year, then you just don't get updates, right? That's the deal.
Yeah. Then you're not just you're just not going to get the if they're at version 10, then you're not going to get the 10.5.9 or whatever.
So I could buy it this year, skip it next year, and then in 2 years they might be on version 11, and then I can pay my $60 again and get the latest and greatest. Yeah.
Right.
My impression was if you don't keep up your subscription, you lose a lot of capabilities in the software. They turn it off. I mean, you have access to your files and everything, but you can't do much with it, or if anything. I don't know if that's real true. That's something I heard when they first started doing this.
Yeah, I'll have to investigate it a little bit and see what the cons are to.
At $20 a month, no, thank you. I'll continue with my Lightroom 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, honestly, and that's the whole purpose with the like On1 type deal.
Mm-hmm.
You pay your money and you own that software. Like if you're willing to stay right where it's at, like he is with Lightroom 4, and then there's nothing wrong with it. You know what I'm saying?
If it does what you need it to do, you don't need to have necessarily
$120, and I've had it for what, 8 years?
Yeah. Well, I've been doing I've just $9.99 a month. It comes out of the gets charged to the credit card once a month, and it's kind of built into the budget. But it's like, hey, if there's maybe a way to do it that can, save me a little bit of money there, especially if they double the price. I'm like, yeah.
How long have you been doing it?
How long?
Yeah, how long have you been doing it?
2 years. I think 2 years. So I'm 250 in. I'm
250 in, yeah.
Yeah, I'm 250 in.
Yeah, honestly, I'm getting fatigued on monthly subscriptions.
Yeah. Oh, that's
It's smart that what they're doing. Instead of selling you Photoshop for $600, which nobody would do unless they're a professional. I mean, Photoshop was one of the most highly pirated softwares ever before they flipped over to the subscription thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're putting 2 years, you're putting over 120, and they make incremental changes over time, sure. So it makes you feel like you're actually getting something for your monthly fee, but it ends up being the same. It doesn't.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Over time, I mean, you consider how often what was the time between Photoshop 4 and Photoshop 5 and 6, or whatever the iterations were.
Yeah. No, it's the monthly payment program.
It's like those micro transactions on video games.
Mm-hmm.
You can spend $39 for a full game, or we get it for free and spend $80 on.
Yeah, that's by 1,000 cuts.
Exactly. It's that they call it.
I should be a big fan because I use a monthly subscription model for my business, but yeah, I mean, it is. You do have to pay attention to it because it adds up. It adds up quick. I mean, you do Adobe, then I do I do Netflix, Amazon Prime. That's a monthly. Well, for me, I kind of budget it as a monthly subscription. You pay. I kind of, but yeah, there's so many of them now.
Mm-hmm.
Tidal for music streaming. Spotify, whatever you use, that's a monthly subscription.
I was thinking about getting Hulu.
Yeah. Yep. Hulu.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I've got so many of them.
Yeah.
I've got so many of these monthly subscriptions. So, if I can cut back on some, I'm all about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm really thinking about it. Some people are using Topaz. Topaz is, looking to be a nice. They always have been. I think they've always is Topaz the one that actually has layers built in it?
Sure. I've never used Topaz. I'm pretty sure On1 does.
On1 has layers, yeah. And they've got layers.
I think part of it is the fear that if you don't use Adobe, you're somehow missing out.
Yeah, they're the but plenty of them. Well, just like the GIMP he's talking about that. I mean, it does a lot of things perfectly fine. You know,
I mean, it's basically a clone of Photoshop. It does probably 95% of what Photoshop does, and it's great.
It may not be as streamlined. It may be a little clunky at times, but
this new
got great support.
Yeah, this new the new interface. I mean, I like I said, I downloaded it. I don't know 3 or 4 years ago, and it was just it didn't look completely put together yet. This one looks pretty darn close to Photoshop.
Yeah. Another one is Lumineer.
Lumineer, yeah, I've heard of that one. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I think GIMP is the first upgrade for about 7 years. It's just come out at the beginning of this year, I think. That 2.10.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean it looks. I mean the interface looks real, almost a clone. Well, not quite, but I mean it's basically Photoshop. I mean it looks. The layout, the tools, the icons they use are pretty similar. So.
You talk about GIMP.
Yeah.
And don't forget, Mark, you can fill it up with tons of add-ons.
Yeah. That's the one thing I haven't really explored yet. I want to check and see what the add-ons look like. I haven't really searched that because that's the one thing I would use it for. Is primarily going to be the image conversion, the negative conversion with all the flexibility there. So if I can find a way to do that relatively consistently, and get me 90% of the way there, and then I can tweak it, each individual image a little bit. That would be a win for me. That's for sure.
I was going to play a little bit more with the curves, but I find if you start putting those lines around too much, you get some really wild colors coming on the screen.
Oh. Oh, so Pat says, wish I could join. Hammering through a bunch of photos. Have eight or so full car shoots to process at the moment. And then I'm driving up to Chino Valley for a shoot in about an hour. Wow.
Yeah.
He's busy.
Yeah, he stays busy, man. For sure.
Yeah. That's yeah. Don't stop editing on our account. That's for sure.
Yeah.
If you're good at what you do, the work snowballs eventually.
Yeah. No, he's in the busy season now because all the summer. He's doing a lot of stuff. What is it for Pebble Beach, right? Isn't that?
Yeah, just a bunch of different stuff. You know, he the auctions and whatnot, you know.
Yeah.
Does he do any work for the car shows like the good guys?
Well, yeah, well the car auctions, yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, but not car shows.
I don't know about the shows specifically as much as like owners that would be in those shows, you know.
Yeah. He's working either with the owners of the cars or the auction houses that have got the contract to sell, to do the card auction or whatever. Which is this time of year there's a big rush in January, February, all the stuff they do there in Arizona, and later in the summer you got the stuff in Pebble Beach, and then I think they do some more stuff down in Florida too. Auctions, yeah. No, well, summers there's auctions everywhere. Auction companies are always doing stuff. I mean, there's things in Chicago, I think. Is it Mecum Auctions? Is that the one?
Mm.
They do a bunch, and they're California, they're Arizona. They do them in Chicago. They do them in Texas. Yeah, they got them all over the place. So, yeah, plenty of work for sure. And he's got building a good rep in that niche. So, sometimes not so busy, and other times too busy.
Yeah, what was it? I forget the magazine, but I think they sent him like 5 different copies of the magazine that he had been in recently.
Oh yeah, he did post that. Yeah, 5 cover shots, cover cards that he had done. Yeah, so he's like, hey, it's kind of cool that it was actually. I didn't realize I did that many.
Yeah, he's pretty humble about it, man. But there's hardly a car magazine cover that he hasn't been on.
Yeah. So
there really is. I mean, he's pretty humble about it, but he's damn good at it.
Yeah, he is. He knows what he's doing behind the camera.
Yeah, sure. He absolutely does, man. He's damn good.
Yeah. Well,
and the thing about it, the funny thing about it, so much of what makes his photos good are logistics.
Mm-hmm.
Things that happen outside the camera.
Yeah. Yep. That is true. I mean, the way he sets up the shot and all that. Where they do the shoot, all that type of stuff. But then so he sets up the parameters of the shoot to match up with the type of shot that he wants to get, which is by default, I guess, probably his style.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, after a while, you kind of develop a certain way that you interpret the things that you photograph. And for him, it's cars, and he's got a definite style in how he approaches the whole car niche.
Right.
And that's a perfect transition to go into seeing how people interpret their own particular photographic niche.
Yeah.
Like Joe here, image 6189.
Oh yeah, I went all out on that name right there on that title. Yeah.
That was pretty creative.
Yeah.
I think 6190 would have been a better title.
89, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just an older shoot that I did, and I just decided to.
We got that girl next door kind of look to her.
Yeah, I like the timeless look of it. You know what I'm saying? It's not a super spectacular photo. It's just I like the timeless kind of girl next door nature of it. Just
Yeah.
kind of a real snapshot sort of look.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, in black and white, which is the preferred. Yeah, here we go. Hits keep coming. Another beautiful morning, Madison Beach Hotel. 65 seconds. High-speed photography for Timmy.
Yeah, it's fast.
Barely had a time to sip a cup of coffee. Man, it's fantastic stuff. As always.
Yeah, it is, man. I mean, all the texture in the rocks. I mean, the nice.
It helps being next to or living in an area where there are good photographs too.
Oh yeah, no, he definitely has lots of willing subject matter, between
Definitely.
the ocean and the rocks, but he's got to take advantage of it, which means getting up early.
Right.
Or staying out late, going at the times when other people don't want to go.
Yeah, that's the key. I mean, it's he gets out there. Plus, when he gets out there, he has an eye for it. He definitely.
That's what I was going to say. Just because you have the landscape in which there are great images to be made doesn't mean you can actually see it.
Yeah. That's the missing piece. That's the difference between a snapshot and a photograph. How you interpret it. And
right.
It's.
But you're right. Getting up and showing up is a massive part of it. I remember I took this photograph on a cruise ship. It was at 5:30 in the morning. It was pulling into the port of San Francisco. I was the only one, probably on the outside of the ship.
Yeah.
But I got this shot, which I personally really, really like. And yeah, if I was like everyone else, I would have slept in and I would never have gotten that image.
Yep, exactly. That's the
That was a big part of the game.
yeah. They kind of did kind of interesting. I guess it probably looks like he's cropped it a little bit, to get a little bit more of a ratio of height to width. But 4 seconds.
He really likes that 24 to 120.
Yeah, that is good lens, and it's got a good range. I mean, that's if the lens is sharp. It's what f4, probably an f4. Yeah, it's an f4 lens. So
doesn't matter. He's always at f8.
Yeah, he's always f11 with an ND filter anyway. So
yeah.
He could use an f25 lens, he'd be fine.
Yeah.
But it's.
Really like how the rocks just.
Oh yeah.
You can visually hop from one to the other, and it just takes you right into the the same.
Yep.
And then when you're done, you actually have something of interest actually to look at. If that little hill wasn't on the horizon. It would have been a bit of a letdown, because what do you got? Once you finish your journey going from bottom right to upper left, what do you look at? Nothing.
Yeah. No, that's.
Now, if there was a lighthouse there.
Yeah, you put a lighthouse on the rock. Oh, he's pretty good at Photoshop. He could probably, as Dennis
Put
said,
one in, yeah.
fake one up, and put it there.
Yeah.
So this is okay. Different view on the same little island out there, but this was evening. 364 seconds.
Yeah.
Wow. That is just
because 365 would have been stupid.
Yeah.
That is just so long. I gotta admit, I don't know that you're gonna get me out there for one shot that long. That's just not gonna happen. I promise you. Wow.
Yeah.
Why is he doing it that long? I mean, is he doing it because of the aperture and the?
I think a lot of it is to get the
level,
the motion, the blur of the water, and
it's got to be for the cloud movement.
Yeah.
and then with that in mind, I can understand it. But I don't know. At some point,
Yeah.
does
Oh,
more time actually make a difference with water?
But
I think Simi said he was there, and it's virtually dark when he does the.
yeah,
That's why that's such a long time.
a long time. Just
That's true too. Yeah.
a little bit of color that's still there that takes a long
Yeah,
time.
that's true too. Yeah, and this one it must have been damn dark because the photo itself is still
Dark still. Yeah.
pretty dark. So
Yeah. You wonder if
yeah, completely forgot about that. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good.
so,
He really needs to try the large format, Mark, because he can play with F64 then.
yeah. Talk about a long exposure.
Yeah.
By the time you get reciprocity and
Oh yeah, that'd be about 10 minutes.
schleif or whatever you got to account for the bellows length extension and
Yeah.
I had forgot all about that, but yeah, like in a photo like this one, in order to get those colors and to be that spectacular, and he says he only uses the 10 filter,
Mhm.
Right.
the 10 stop, and that's all he uses. So in order to get what he's got, he's got to sit there. God almighty, that's just so long. That is just so
he
long.
took it at 8:32
Yeah.
in the evening. So it's after sunset pretty much. Yeah.
I bought when I bought the filters, for my camera, I bought a 6-stopper and a 10-stopper, and quite frankly, I've never had one instance where I used the 6.
Yeah, you just might as well. If you're going to use one, you might as well just use the 10. Yeah. Yeah, and I think he's kind of the same way. Just the 10. It's pretty much 10 or nothing. Yeah. Yeah. It is amazing. Oh, okay. Jose Mount Whitney, highest mountain in the contiguous U.S. That's a nice shot. I like that.
Yeah.
Just taken the longest day of the year. Taken on June 21st, 2 days ago.
Oh, that already passed, huh? Wow.
Yeah, we're on the downhill slide to shortest day of the year now.
Evenings are getting darker here now, Joe.
Yeah.
That's neat. This is, I'm assuming, probably a little later in the day, probably getting some late afternoon sun. Yeah. No, 5 in the morning. So you got up early. 05:47. Yeah. So that's sunrise.
Oh God, 30.
Yeah. Mount Whitney.
And it's not the highest by much either.
Yeah. There's a few in Colorado that are close to that, but it is the highest by like 50 feet or something. Now that's the race to run, because there's an ultra marathon that starts in Badwater, so in Death Valley, and it finishes up near the top of Mount Whitney. They call it the Badwater 100, and they run it in the summer. So that's insane. Yeah, they're starting off in Death Valley where it's 125 or whatever, and then you run from negative 300 feet to over 14,000 feet.
Oh, you've got Rui in the chat there.
Oh, hey Rui, what's up? Did you see? I didn't look on Instagram, but Rui did a ride. Was it yesterday, Rui? Yeah, I think so. He did a ride in his mountain bike park where it was just up and down the hills. He did like your legs must be tired, bro. That's all I gotta say.
I just don't. That guy rides more than anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody I know, and easily.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It's just it's what's so cool about it is that it's obvious he loves riding.
Oh yeah.
And it's great. I like seeing his posts because it's just the opposite of me.
Yeah, I get winded walking across the parking lot to Walmart.
Bro, I'm even worse than that because I get winded watching his posts.
He's like, "Ooh, hey, a break.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna log off now and sit down and rest for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just tired just watching. Yeah.
Yeah, I get exhausted looking at his posts. I'm like, whew,
Yeah.
damn, I need to hydrate.
Yeah, I need a Red Bull just to look at his portfolio.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, this is nice. Roman Greco sculptures along the trails at Tower Hill Botanical Gardens. Okay. Look at the lighting on that.
Yeah, that's another spectacular one right there.
Yeah.
I like
Oh, 1/6 of a second.
that. Absolutely, yeah, I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, 1/6 of a
You know, if
second.
there was a nude woman standing on top of that fountain,
Yeah.
I would
That's
be
what I'm all about it. You bet. Yeah.
Hot chick. Got to put the hot chick on the fountain.
That's you were reading my mind. Yep.
This is-
Joe, you're going to get us banned.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
You just can't
Yeah.
show it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it is neat. Temple. Yeah, nice lighting on that. Okay, so here we go, Dennis. Another gimped up shot. So you.
Yeah, I just stuck the raw file in the GIMP this time because before it was processed in Capture One.
Okay.
Yeah, but when I framed it, I used the color slides to try and get the frame the same color as the windows.
Oh, okay. Yeah, which is what you did. Yeah, I got a pretty.
Yeah, well, it wasn't too bad, sort of. And I screwed it up a bit, and I also done the name in 3D with the black and white, and slightly offset it a bit,
Offset it a little bit, yeah. Well, that's a nice image. I mean, that's a good base to work at. I mean, I think you showed this one a few months ago. Yeah, it's just.
Yeah.
You should go back to the York Bread Shop and say, "Hey, look at this shot." I think.
I should take them a picture back so they put it on the wall. Yeah.
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, I mean, not only that, but the bread looks fantastic, man. I mean, I'm
show here. I'm getting hungry.
I know.
Yeah,
I want to buy some of that.
Yeah, when I was doing it, Joe, I was looking at the ciabatta in the corner, and I thought myself, I could just do with one of those.
Yeah, I mean, it's God. I mean, that guy could have used one of those loaves of bread to have a sandwich that I just had. I feel like I'm missing out right now, man. That's some fantastic looking bread, man.
Yeah, no, it's very. And so, did you do the any HDR type stuff for clarity or anything?
No, I didn't do anything. All I done was framed it up, and I just done put the York bread chop on the bottom there.
Huh.
Yeah.
Dennis, I would say the only reason to go back and try to reshoot this would be to get somebody standing so their face is centered in one of the panes.
Yeah, well, this was basically walking down the street, Frank, and just turning around and taking a picture while there wasn't anybody walking past the shop.
Yeah.
But the scene is good enough. I think it would warrant revisiting.
Yeah.
Yeah, with her hand slightly blurred because obviously she was moving.
Sure.
Yeah, a little bit of motion blur on there, but the rest came out pretty sharp. That was with
Very nice.
and a lens. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So 3 pounds for the focaccia. Okay.
Yeah, that's York is a tourist town. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. No, it's a very nice shot.
We got a bakery in Berkeley called the Acme Bread Shop, and it's one of the best bakeries in the country. It's just phenomenal stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit lucky.
Yeah. Oh, good bread. Well baked bread. Man,
Yeah.
So good. Okay, so this is flowers from the garden.
Yeah, this was just playing in the garden, and I framed it up again, and I thought it looked nice with a green frame. This one.
Yeah. Nice. And this was the Voigtlander. Yep.
Yeah, that is super sharp lens. That is.
Yeah, I mean, I was sort of saying, look at the individual hairs on the. Is this a tomato plant or something?
No, this is a weird plant. the bees love it. They're always smothered in bees, getting the nectar. But,
Mhm.
yeah.
Interesting. No, that's a good one. There we go.
Yeah. Now this one, I use the cartoon filter on, Mark.
Okay. All right. Gonna get the gonna go a little over the top on the colors, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's not. Yeah, I mean, it's like it looks like it pumps up the clarity a little bit and the saturation maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's neat. Yeah, because you get the nice textures in the base. Yeah.
Dennis, when you apply the filters, do you tend to do it globally or selectively?
What was that, Frank?
When you apply your filters, do you do it to the entire image, or do you make selections and apply?
No, on this occasion, I've done it on the whole photo, the whole image. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know you can section it all off and blur out the background.
Paint them in pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, I've tried doing a few pieces. Like stitching the two photos together and all that, and I think GIMP done it pretty well, really.
Mm-hmm.
I've ruined pictures by applying filters globally and not realizing it. What the effects were in certain areas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm only a beginner on this GIMP because it's the first time I've ever really sat down and like tried to use it properly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I framed it up in red, white, and blue. That's just a question of applying 3 frames in different colors, you know.
Yeah, good American colors.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of funny, isn't it? Because I feel like we're all getting forced to do things that we get out of our comfort zone. In other words, you've got Google on one hand that's making this Hangout more difficult than it had been in the past, and now you've got the possibility of learning how to operate a Photoshop more manual type of app for photos, and it just kind of feels like it's some big conspiracy.
Take off your tinfoil hat, Joe.
Yeah, man. It's like, God, now I have to start thinking.
Yeah.
Well, Google's going to probably take this off now because GIMP's free. They don't like things what are free. They like you to pay.
Honestly, I think that has some to do with it. You've got so many gamers and so forth that are manually doing their own shows, that I think Google's kind of like, well, screw it, man. We're not gonna, keep up the maintenance on the Hangouts. So might have something to do with it. Yeah.
So here, obviously, Pat is using GIMP too. I can tell.
Yeah.
Well, he's a beginner.
Yeah, he's a beginner. He's obviously a beginner at shooting cars, and
he's still working on it.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, look at this.
He'll get it right eventually.
Yeah. Don't be too critical. You don't want to squash his creativity.
Yeah.
I look at this, Mark, and I think Adobe's ripping off the GIMP.
So this is a 2000. Okay, Porsche Carrera GT. So this is going to the Monterey auction. So that's going to be in a couple months, basically. I think it's like mid-August, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Sotheby's that's the one
That's a big one. Yeah.
That he shoots for. Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
Is he going there this year? I don't know. He won a couple years ago, didn't he? I think he did.
Well, just this past one he went.
Okay.
Yeah, the RM. Yeah, because I went to the one, what was it now, 2 years ago. He took me to that, or to at least one night of that one, and now he's I think he just did that one actually. Now he might be doing another one.
Yeah.
Because it does tour around.
Yeah. So this one's going to be up at Pebble Beach, basically, Monterey, where you were last month, Joe, 2 months ago, I guess.
Yeah.
Beautiful area. That is one of the.
That it is.
Yeah, that is a fantastic area. You could spend a lifetime there photographing it.
Oh, a person like Sim, where you just throw your camera up and get good photos. It's amazing.
Yeah. So
Train Monkey could take good pictures over there.
It's pretty cool too. I should have brought it in here with me because I just got the thank you card from my sister from that
Oh.
wedding, and she used, of course, some of the images
Oh,
for
nice.
the thank you card. So I should have brought that in here so you could have seen it. But I guess it's not too late. I can get it.
Yeah.
Hey guys,
You took some.
Hello, Rui.
Hey, Rui.
what's up?
Hey. So are your legs tired after all that climbing you did? 7,000 feet of climbing and 16 miles. That's a lot of climbing.
Yeah, with the lift, it's pretty easy.
Yeah, Uber yourself all the way to the top.
Oh, so that was.
You're
Was
kind of
it?
breaking
Did
it.
you actually take a lift to the top and then just ride down? Is that what you did, Rudy?
Yeah.
Or did you actually pedal to the top and ride down, or did you take a lift up and ride down?
I did pedal to the top of one trail.
Okay, all right. Yeah, because I looked at
It
the
was a
profile you
little
posted
bit-
on Strava, and it was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Do they actually have trams when you get on it? They'll take you at a higher elevation? Or you have to hike all the way to the top?
What was that?
Do they have trams where you can just ride your way up to a certain section, or do you have to walk or bicycle all the way to the top?
Where I live, I have to ride, or I could rent a van to
Okay.
take me.
Okay.
But I went on the weekend trip.
Yeah, Mark, I can't hear Rui.
Oh,
Yeah. It's really weird, isn't it? Anybody joins after I've already logged on, then
yeah. Well, maybe what's happening, Dennis? Maybe this is the YouTube version of Brexit for you. When everybody joins,
yeah, this is obviously the European Union doing this.
that's right. Yeah, I think
Yes.
I think you have an argument with somebody in Brussels right here.
Yeah,
Dennis.
they're crashing it. They're crashing our show.
It's all
Yeah.
part of the globalist agenda.
It's Boris. I think Boris is messing with you.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, so they're trying to tear him down at the moment, Boris. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if they will.
Yeah.
The guy can't even have a row with his girlfriend now without ending up in the front pages of the papers.
Yeah, that's the state of affairs now. Yeah.
What's the consensus? Is Johnson going to be a good PM or no? Or
Well, he's got, when they were doing the voting, he was like, the other guys were getting 40 votes, 50 votes. He was in the 150s.
oh wow,
Yeah. So,
quite a lot of support.
yeah. So, I mean, on the last vote, when there's only 2 left, he was about 150 odd, and the other guy only had 60 or 70 votes, so he's way down. But now it's down to thousands of conservative voters to send him, to make him the prime minister.
Yeah.
It depends on the public vote now.
Yeah. Well, that'll be always interesting.
We'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I think he's going to be the English version of Donald Trump. Yeah.
Did you get that image, Joe? That card?
Oh yeah.
That's going to show that.
Yeah, that's the.
Yeah. Okay. The shots you took on the beach there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
I'd show the backside, but it's got addresses and stuff.
Oh yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah, it came up. It's pretty cool to see. You work on something like that. It's kind of.
Oh yeah, because she sent it out to everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody got to see it. Now, did they put together, I guess, kind of a formal wedding album too? Did they do that?
I don't know if they did. I know I didn't. The album is something I just don't do anymore.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering how that is. I mean, we had our wedding album, when we got married, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Do you just get do brides just get a thumb drive with the images on them? I mean, what do wedding photographers do? Is it pretty much like they save it to a file?
I know what I would do, or what I have done in the past, is exactly that. Yeah, thumb drive with photos, and you do the printing. I mean, if I've got to do any printing, price goes up. You know what I'm saying? And
Oh yeah.
and you get charged per print and all those sorts of things. Like I can offer, and I think I did for that last wedding I shot, offered a few photos, but other than that, I don't. Not even for my sister, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, no, she knows she's on her own. I'll deliver you images, and that's how you're saving money. You're saving money the less I have to be involved. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, because even for my own sister, there's still going to be a cost. Like,
Mhm. Oh yeah. Yeah.
so
It's not an insignificant cost either. You know, it adds up fast. I mean, it really does. So,
yeah,
well, I mean, that's, with Pat. I mean, yeah, all he does is send files. He sends edited files, and they do what they do digitally.
yeah,
You know.
right.
You know.
It can be a little disappointing sometimes in his position when you submit photos and they alter your photos a little bit, so it might end up on a billboard or something like that, and then you're like, that image ain't quite the way I had it. You know what I'm saying? But it depends on the editor and stuff like that. But,
Yeah. Yeah. And whatever the agreement you have with them on the use of the images too.
Yeah.
On those lines, it was brought to my attention by my sister that Princess Cruises is having a competition, a photo competition. And in the guidelines and the rules and regulations, it stipulates that Princess Cruise owns the rights to the image to do whatever they want in forever, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. That's the problem with those competitions. You submit those images, and the minute you do, they're no longer yours, man.
Exactly. So, no, thank you.
Yeah, and that's always been my thing with them. Yeah, you better have a good idea that you might win, because if you don't, you just gave away that image.
No, even if you don't win.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. You better have a good idea if you win, because if you don't, you just gave away that image for nothing. Like you just gave it away.
Yeah.
So
And what they'll do is they'll declare a winner, but they'll take the 8 or 10 other ones, and you'll see them in marketing pieces. I mean, because they're all going to be good. There's going to be 10 or 20 that are
yeah,
a couple percent of each other, and they're all going to be great images.
Not to go off on a tangent or anything, but that's it's them being cheap, because they know the deal. They're like, oh, okay, we can have some BS contest, offer a few $100, offer a free cruise which cost us nothing, or offer a few $1,000s. It's still peanuts next to what they'd have to pay for a full-blown shoot of their own, and whatever that may be. But there's plenty of people out there more than willing to submit them images. Here's my image for nothing.
Just give me a photo credit. Yay.
Yeah, right. Yeah, if that,
Yeah. The only ones that are going to get the credit is going to be the winners. Everybody else that they use the images for,
that's it.
The winners will be on the first sheet of the brochure. Everybody else will be on the 4th and 5th sheet, but they're still great images, but they're not going to get any credit. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's
what do you want from a multi-billion-dollar company?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's you see a lot. Well, I think a few years ago you were starting to see a lot more contests, photo contests. Nowadays, I don't think I see them as much. You still see them, but there's a lot of us are hip to what they're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just a way. It's a way to get pro quality images for free. Virtually free. Yeah.
Virtually free, exactly.
Yeah.
And not have all the overhead of of whatever. And I just last week was getting, I think I got 3 different emails for me to submit images to these stupid contests, and I'm like, you're out of your mind. I'm not, you're out of your mind. Why am I gonna go through all the problem or the expense? I'm not gonna give you my images. Screw that. I know the deal.
Yeah. But 90, I don't know what, some gigantic percentage of people that get that are going to submit their images anyway. They know. They don't know. or they might know, but they don't care. Whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Rui just sent me a hi, Dennis. So, how you doing, Rui? I can't hear you.
So are you, Rui, have you used your camera other than your GoPro in the last month?
No.
No? Okay. Yeah.
No.
Okay. The GoPro quite a bit.
Yeah, I got a lot of content, not much time to it.
Yeah. So how many miles are you riding a week? I think last time I asked you were thinking it was close to 100 miles a week. Are you over that now?
A week, probably that.
Okay.
Still a lot, still around that.
That's pretty serious. Yeah, that's a lot of time.
That's very serious, man. I mean, that all of those are off-road miles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or a large majority of them. So that
Awesome journey.
Yeah, it makes a big difference because you're not averaging 18 miles an hour.
100 miles for a road cyclist in a week wouldn't be as much, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And let's be clear, that would kill me. I mean, you know what I'm saying? That would absolutely,
Yeah, it's just, I mean, riding a lot. You could do 100 miles. The problem is, it's still, even on the road, 100 miles is still 5 to 7 hours of riding, So you do that on the trail. I mean, you're probably spending 10 to 12 hours a week riding, probably. Yeah. That adds up fast. But you're not married yet, so that helps.
No, not
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little easier to find some extra time. Yeah. But no, that's fantastic. I try to watch your Instagram and see what you post. Yeah, fun stuff. Yeah. Now, is it getting hot down there? I mean, you guys are probably.
It is getting dusty. Although during the weekend it rained here, but I went away, so I got the dust.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and you probably get a lot of days that are probably over 100 degrees, right?
Yeah.
Hot and dry. Maybe not quite as hot as Joe, but yeah, if you're 100 degrees, and it's fairly dry this time of year too. So I mean, that takes commitment. You got to ride it early in the morning if you can. Beat the heat. Yeah. That is. I remember when I used to ride that much. It was fun, but man, it did take a lot of time. That's for sure.
Yeah, closer to noon, it gets closer to 100 degrees.
Yeah. Early in the morning and drink lots of water because you're going to go.
Yeah.
And I know. I went out for a run this morning here, and it was humid, and I lost 4 pounds of water.
Wow.
In a run. Yeah. So three almost a gallon of water later over the last 6 hours. Pretty much back to normal now. But it's easy, and you got to be careful because if you're out in the trails or whatever, and you don't have enough water, and you're away from a water source, find yourself in a little bit of trouble because you get dehydrated.
You kind of plan the route around some water sources that we know of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So in between all those miles, you do have to some stuff to refill and all that.
Yeah, you need to do that. I've had that happen to me a couple of times. You probably have too, where you just bonk. You run out of energy and you're dehydrated, and it's not good.
Yeah.
not a good position to find yourself in. Well, cool. I'm glad you're able to join. I'm gonna have to cut this one. Well, I guess it is 7:30, so an hour and a half. But got some good images as always. Dennis, I'm gonna commit this week. I'm gonna try to learn a little bit more about the GIMP. See if I can do some more stuff. And
don't forget, if you get stuck, Mark, just like YouTube the problem. And
that's gonna be my next search on YouTube is converting negatives to positives in with the,
I'll have a look at that. Yeah, I've never had the problem because I've always scanned
yeah,
positive.
I always thought you were just scanning in negatives, but it was just me that's doing it the extra long way.
Yeah, no, I just scan the negative and save it as a positive. Yeah.
Yeah, I was scanning it and I save it as a negative, so I've got to convert it post scanning, which has been pretty straightforward in Photoshop with that plugin. But I'm sure there's got to be something that gets me most of the way there with InGAN, because I'm sure other photographers.
It probably is a filter to remove the mask.
Yeah. There probably is. Yeah, which is the secret to the filter I'm using on Photoshop is it's they pre-built filter most of the settings to get rid of the mask and a large variety of film. I've got profiles for all the different film stocks. So that's the hard part. But so I'll play around with that a little bit and see if I can get anything else to work. And I might actually play a little bit with On One too.
Yeah, if you get your dark table working, then it may open your Olympus files.
Yeah. That's if I can get dark table working, then I can do the raw conversion image management too. So
yeah, I'll stick an Olympus file in the GIMP and see if it does open it.
Yeah. It didn't initially. Maybe I don't have all the. I haven't gone into the preferences and played around with it. I pretty much just downloaded it, started it up, and tried it. I really haven't. I haven't read the manual yet, so I guess I should do that.
Yeah, that was always the frightening bit. It does so much. It's so huge that you can't get your head around everything.
Yeah, that's exactly. Which means when that's the case, you actually need to take the time and at least scan the user manual. But I haven't done that yet, so
yeah.
That's the next step is actually read the. Well, that's the one thing that us males don't want to do is ever read the instruction manual. We just figure out, I got it. No big deal. I'll figure it out. Yeah. Me, big strong man. I figure out. Yeah. All right, guys. Dennis, appreciate it. Really great talking with you a little bit. Pop in. Feel free to pop in whenever. And Frank, as always, and Joe, stay cool.
Yeah, stay cool.
Yeah.
It's in my nature.
Yeah. All right, guys. Hey, good one. We'll be back. Next week. I don't think we got it. We shouldn't have any breaks in the pattern until probably the first week of August. So, but that's still a few weeks away. So, see y'all next week.
All right.
Later. All right.
See you guys.
Bye.
All right, see you.